Fuck my friends, they're gone. They all left one by one. And now the summer's done. They don't need no more fun. Yeah, I drive around on my own. I'm rich but my AC broke. Don't check no mail, no phone. And I tell them I'm not home. And I keep to myself. Fuck with no one else. And I know it's my fault, but I don't care. And I keep to myself. Who are you to pretend? And I know it's my fault, it'll never end. Yeah, all my friends no fun. Yeah, all my friends no fun. Drive around on my own. Yeah, all my friends no fun. Yeah, all my friends no fun. Yeah, all my friends no fun. All they do is sun. Yeah, all my friends no fun. Yeah, I can't get no sleep. I look so good in green. I run, and I don't have no more dreams. I drive around on my own. Feel dead, but I feel my bones. I hide out on my throne. Open up, now my cover's blown. Yeah, now my cover's blown. Yeah, now my cover's blown. Oh, now my cover's blown. Oh, now my cover's blown. Yeah, all my friends no fun. Yeah, all my friends no fun. Drive around on my own. Yeah, all my friends no fun. Yeah, all my friends no fun. Yeah, all my friends no fun. Drive around on my own. Yeah, all my friends no fun. Yeah, all my friends no fun. Yeah, all my friends no fun. All they do is none. Yeah, all my friends no fun, 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 no fun.
I'll be the roundabout. The words will make you out and out. I spend the day away. Call it morning, driving through the sun and in and out the valley. The music dance and sing. They make the children really ring. I spend the day away. Call it morning, driving through the sun and in and out the valley. In and around the lake. Mountains come out of the sky and they stand there. One night over, we'll be there and we'll see you. 10 true summers, we'll be there and laughing too. 24 before my love, you'll see. I'll be there with you. I silhouette will charge the view of distant atmosphere. Call it morning, driving through the sound and even in the valley. In and around the lake, mountains come out of the sky. They stand there. One mile over, we'll be there. We'll see you.
Fuck my friends,
Hello.
they're gone. They all left one by
Oh,
one. Now
hello.
the summer's done. They don't need no more
Oh
Why are
shit.
you making
yeah,
weird
drive
noises?
around on my own.
I don't know.
My AC broke.
Because
Don't check no
I'm
mail,
gay.
no phone.
Not homosexual, but
I'm not
you
It
know,
home.
sounded
gay.
like
And I keep
mouth.
to myself.
Hello.
No one else. And I know it's my
Hello?
fault, but
Hello.
Hello?
and I keep to myself.
Hi guys,
Who are you
Hey,
to
girl.
pretend?
what's up?
And I know it's my fault.
That was a
Nothing
very
much.
seductive intro, Duff.
She
Thanks.
just said, what's up, right?
Yeah.
No, just the way
Ah!
the sound of your voice was like, I was like, ooh, wow, okay. I don't know.
He hasn't talked to a female since last Thursday.
Apparently.
We're all in
Seriously,
quarantine.
The weirdest thing that ever happened to me was my first job out of college. I worked with this woman who had an event company. We worked out of an office in her home. And I got to know her family really well. Or like that, I don't really know why that has to do with it. But her husband, I called her once and no, her husband called me, I guess, or like they were together.
Her husband called you.
Hello? You loser?
It looks like she's speaking, but god damn it, this
No,
is like the
that was
juicy
the end of the story. That was a great story.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. That was hilarious. So funny when that one part happened.
Oh my god. How you guys doing? Dude, yard sale, that picture, man. I can't. With the hat? With the hat. Oh my god, it makes it so. Oh, I love it. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
dude, that's gonna be my new Tinder profile.
Totally brightened up my day. Oh my god, can you please make that your new Tinder profile? Because I would love to see who reaches out to you from that.
Right? Me too, actually. Like, as a social experiment, that would be
I
phenomenal.
think you would get a lot of matches, so women could just message you and tell you what a piece of shit you are.
Dude, that turns me on, though.
Yeah, right?
Dude, please, can you please do it? And then we can share it on the show.
All right.
Please.
I'll do it.
Thank you.
What are you
And
doing?
thank you.
Something happened. I
Yeah,
got
what
cut
happened,
off.
Duff? Can you finish your story, please?
Well, where did it die?
It died at like her
Okay,
husband was
so-
communicating
The
with
husband
you.
called you.
Yeah, you got
Oh,
the phone call, and
I
we
was
were
wondering,
on
like,
the edges of our
yeah.
seat.
So we were on our way to an event or something, and he called me, and he left me a voicemail, and whatever. I got the voicemail, which is fine. We're at the event later on, and we're just like the three of us are talking, and he's like, "By the way," he's like, "you have a really sexy voicemail." He's like, "I could just call you and leave voicemail and listen to your voicemail all the time because you have a very sultry tone in it," and it creeped me out.
Yeah.
I kind of want to hear your voicemail message now.
I think Duff, if I can be like 100% like, you know, platonically honest, like you could be a sex phone operator.
Just
I had-
immediately after that comment,
Never
you
heard
would be poor.
I know.
Perfect timing.
But you know what? When I lived in LA, I actually was really good friends with a sex phone operator. They have like literal call centers. You know, I walked in and you got like 20 girls talking on phones in LA.
Yeah, I actually work with a lady, older Australian lady who's like just big pervert, and she worked as a sex phone operator for like a brief amount of time, and she says she just did it for fun, like it wasn't about the money, you know. It was a passion project, I guess.
Well, I mean, this was her full-time job, and she was cool, right? But it was like back in the day before a lot of remote work was available.
She said it was passion?
I said, yeah, it was like a passion project of hers.
That's such a funny way to describe phone sex operator.
Yeah, passion project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was awesome. Okay, sorry. What were you saying?
I don't know what happened to Dove.
I don't know, man.
Hear me?
I
Now
now
I can. Now I can.
Have you been able to hear us?
Yeah, I don't understand what the problem is.
Huh.
I haven't moved. You can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're perfectly fine now.
Now we can.
It's okay. You know, if it's fine if you are offended by my comment. I
thought that's exactly
apologize.
what happened.
Not at all.
So Elon Musk was on the Joe Rogan show. Is that right?
Oh yeah, it was.
Did you see it or did you hear it?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing.
All right, give us a synopsis. What the fuck happened? Did he smoke pot on the show again? Did he talk about his kid?
No pot. He talked about his kid a little bit.
What's
but
his
he
kid's
also
name?
talked about
It's like
Zach?
something really really weird.
I know, that's why I asked what it is.
It's pronounced
His
like
first name's
Ash,
Egyptian.
Ash or something like that.
Ass?
Ash.
I read that
oh.
California denied that it's a real name because you can't have symbols in the name.
Well, what about Prince? Wasn't he? Didn't he
In
become a
California.
symbol?
So you're not allowed to have symbols in your name, but it's perfectly legal to identify as a dragon or a fucking non-binary super alien or something.
I identify as an
You
exclamation
can
mark.
identify as that? I didn't know. I have to change.
Oh, me and
My-
Narcdale had a whole adventure last night into the complexities of gender identity.
Oh, can I interject really quick since we're on that topic?
No.
Okay.
You what?
Go ahead.
Oh, I thought somebody said no.
Who cares?
No, go for it.
All right, so I started a new job, right? And they've had to put me on a new. I had to go through training, sexual harassment training, and in the sexual harassment training, there's a New York State video that you have to watch. And in this video, they talk about binary, non-binary, all sorts of identities, right, along the spectrum. And basically, I think what bothered me most about it, like nothing really bothered me about it, you know, like I get it, and that's it's cool, but like, what bothered me about the video is that it was telling me that I had to believe in it. Does that make sense?
What?
Like,
Yeah.
I'm okay respecting. Everybody deserves respect. I get that. You know, like I'm not gonna be a dick and like, you know, if you identify as a fucking whale, I don't give a shit. And I'll do my best to like kind of, you know, just be respectful, right? But do I have to believe it? No,
No.
I don't.
But if you don't believe it, you can get fired or fined $200.
What kind of
Apparently
language
because
did they
it's sexual
use
harassment
to make
now.
it? Yeah. What did they say to make you feel like you had to believe it?
They literally said, I think that everybody deserves that you to be believed or something. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
What
Let me
about
see.
liars?
I mean, let me see if I can find it. Well, I can't navigate away from the screen, but
You
like,
don't have to believe. You don't have to believe liars unless they're women. You have to believe all.
I can't, man. Like I sat through that stuff and I was like, I get it, but you know.
Yeah, I'm done with that shit. Man. I'm completely over it. I don't fucking care anymore. Fuck that shit. If you're pushing that kind of stuff, you have an ulterior motive, or you're a fucking idiot. It's one of the two.
You know, I was watching a video on Joe Biden, and it's how CBS reported on Joe Biden running for president in 1988, I think. And back then, it was a whole report about people seeing that he was more about themes than substance, and you just watching the reactions in the video of like the people looking at him while he's speaking, like just totally seeing through the bullshit. But in 2020, it's really interesting because that's all we see are themes and not substance.
Yeah.
and nobody seems to really care.
Well, we've had the dumbing down of America, the infantilizing of the American mind, as Jordan Peterson put it, and it's or the coddling of the American mind. And I think the responsibility primarily lies with the university system. They've really relinquished their role as the societal arbiters of knowledge and truth and reason, and it's unfortunate. It's really sad.
Yeah. So Elon's gonna get rid of his belongings, possessions.
He's getting rid of all of his possessions.
Really? He's going to be a minimalist?
Yeah, he's gonna rent. He's not gonna own a house. He's gonna rent.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Why?
So
He had some weird reasons behind it, and he's depending on what he's talking about, he's not very articulate. And in this podcast, he wasn't very articulate. So I don't know what his deal was, but he did not come across well, frankly. So he didn't. The only thing I can remember about his reasons why was he said it provides people an attack vector. Which to me it sounded like what he's saying is that if he's mega wealthy, he has all these possessions, all these different homes, and yada yada yada. People in the media can say he's a bad person because he's got more than other people and all that kind of stuff.
Well, it's a hell of a time to be trying to sell his house, but that's a separate thing, or any possessions for that matter. But I will say this: years ago,
Except a weight set. If he has weights, he could sell those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Years ago, I was on an airplane with. And speaking of airplanes, we'll get to that later. But we were in. I was on an airplane and I had this conversation. This guy, I was pretty young. It was before I was like 18, I guess, and he was telling me about owning versus renting and how it was financially like not a great investment to like own a house or anything like that, and I tried to disprove it, and it just makes logical sense unless you're using the house as an investment vehicle. Most of the time you're just losing money off of the maintenance and the taxes and all that shit. And it's a headache, right? Like I could just call my super up and he'll come up and fix shit for free. It's just part of the package. And he's right. He can get attacked and his possessions can get repossessed. Shit, you don't own really anything. It's an illusion.
Well, that's I think a different argument than what the first argument that you made. I think you're talking about two separate things. So to talk about the first one, which is to say that renting versus owning, and owning is not really worth it, I would have to strongly disagree there. Traditionally, not just now, but traditionally throughout history, thousands of years, the wealthiest and most powerful in society, the elites, have always been the landowner. So
you're talking about land. You're not talking about and also I'm talking about like a middle class person owning like a home.
Yeah, and even if you do own property, a lot of the times you don't really if you want to build a fireplace in the back, you got to get a permit for that. You want to do adjustments to your fence, you got to get a permit for that. Like you don't really own it in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think those are two separate arguments. I think that's one topic to talk about. But to go back to the investment,
you buy a house, and while you're paying off your mortgage for the next 30 years, I'm going to be laughing in your face because I just made more money than you did in 30 years. Saving
you can make
my
more.
money.
You can. Well, it depends on what you do with your money. If you just hoard cash, definitely not true. I mean, if you put money in the bank in a savings account, earning less than 1%, and put money into a property, the property will 100% earn money over time.
Yeah,
over 30
and it's a matter of
100%.
timing too, right? Like if you buy something right now, or not now, but maybe in the next year, you'll probably see a good return. But I
One of
mean,
the most
don't ever put your money in a savings account anyways. That's just the dumbest place to put money.
one of the most reliable assets is property. It's been that way for a long time. It's still that way now. The problem is a lot of people overextend themselves. They buy too much house. You're right that it comes along with a lot of stuff, maintenance, yada yada yada. But and people don't, especially first-time home buyers, don't understand the true cost of ownership. But if you understand the true cost of ownership, it's a smart decision. It's much smarter than renting, for sure. Because you're buying.
Unless you're using it as an investment vehicle, I really don't. Like I said, unless you're using it as an investment vehicle, if you're just using it as like I want to buy a house and live in it, kind of situation, I don't really think that. I don't really think it's worth it. But
I think you can mathematically prove that. Actually, you can do the math.
welcome to do it. That's fine. Totally welcome to do it. I don't think it's worth it unless you're renting it out to somebody else and you have somebody else. Gay confirmed. This is true. This is true, Jake. Gay is confirmed. But
well, moving on from that topic, the other point that you made in Yard Sale, talked about it a little bit too, is never really owning something, which is, I mean, that's more of a that's more of a philosophical, which is kind of interesting. I don't know. Do you not think that the law, the Constitution, society deems ownership as a strong enough concept for you to technically own something?
I think that there's very little you can own in land, property, and housing unless you have the financial backing to protect that. You really don't own it.
So you mean if you could buy cash?
Huh?
Is that what you're saying?
What are you talking about?
You said unless you have the financial backing,
If you have enough money to protect your land or home, then sure, maybe you can own it.
Like from a Marshall perspective, like having.
No, I think I know what he's saying. Like
security?
my family has an apartment building, right? And my mom was always so nervous about like anything ever happening, somebody falling on, if we didn't shovel the snow or the ice, like somebody could fall and they could sue and then we would have no house. Like it was so easy to lose it. Like there's so many things that could happen. We own it this second, but if anything ever happened, we didn't have that financial backing to be able to protect it as well as maintain it.
Sure.
Is that what you mean?
And if a state or city decides that they've got to put something where your land is,
your land is gone. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll do anything to remove you from it.
And to what Yard Sale says, if you do want to do anything, you could even put up a shed or like, the smallest things you could get in a lot. You could get fined if you don't have a permit.
Right.
So you have to go through.
The show on earth ships, right? Have you guys heard of those things?
No, what's that?
So an
earth ship is like a home that's pretty. It's like quasi self-sufficient, right? They process their own water. Dispose of its own waste.
They live in the sea, like they're
no. So it's
it's
on land.
Like Atlantis. It's like Atlantis. Have you seen the movie Aquaman? It's like that.
What?
What? No, I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen that.
And I doubt you're telling the truth.
I've seen Waterworld.
Yeah, it's kind of like that too.
It's in Titanic.
Actually, I think it's more like Waterworld for sure, but basically,
it's definitely like Titanic.
You get energy from solar panels. You're completely off the grid, and it's self-sufficient. You grow. There's a garden there. So you get all your food from there.
You have to drink your own piss.
Yeah. You drink gray water and shit. But I mean, anyways, the point is that building permits, man, it's like incredibly hard to get one of those just to build something like that. Duff, did you see that JetBlue flew over New York today?
I didn't see it until like 8 o'clock. It was at 7. I didn't realize it.
JetBlue, the airline.
The airline.
The blue. Oh, the airline. I thought it was the jets, right? Like they did the same like 5-borough thing. Is that what you mean?
No. Alrighty, Jake.
Oh.
We'll see you later.
Why is that?
I'm talking about the commercial airline JetBlue. So
Why is that is that unusual or something?
Well, so they're flying at about 2,000 feet, and it kind of wasn't marketed very well. So you just see these planes, like commercial airplanes, flying super low over the city, like out your window.
Oh God!
You know what I'm saying?
I did not
And so
know
you're
that.
wondering, like, what the fuck is that? Like, are we getting attacked? Is this thing gonna go into a building? Like, what the fuck?
Whoa.
Well, it says JetBlue is doing a 3-plane flyover of New York City to salute healthcare workers.
I know. Yeah, but who gives
Is
a
that
shit?
what it was?
I think that's
Yeah.
real obvious.
I think we're talking about the same thing because I realized it was supposed to be at 7, and I
Yeah.
didn't see it until a lot later.
Yeah, we are talking about the same thing, but it's just ridiculous, dude. Like, I saw this airplane. Like, I live on the 31st floor or whatever, and I saw this airplane look like it was
Really?
gonna go right by my fucking window, and
That's crazy.
I was like, "Holy shit! What the fuck is that? Why is that there?" And they also angled it so that the side of so you can see the branding on the plane.
Of course they do.
And
course
so
they do.
not only did it look like it was way too close to the ground, it looked like it was flying improperly and it was about to go down somewhere.
It just says JetBlue flyover criticized by some, comparing imagery to 9/11.
Dude, yeah. I looked out my window. I was like, what the fuck?
That
Yeah.
would be a little. That's really scary.
It was
I
really
don't-
terrifying.
I
And there
don't
was
get
3
the
of
point
them.
of like the jets flying over.
I get it wasn't
Maybe
It-
the military, but like
Yeah, like Blue
uh,
Angel, stuff like that. Like that's
Yeah.
traditionally something that it's a show. So you put it on
Yeah.
as like people look up and are bring their kids. But like New York City, a commercial air, really?
yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah, it was so ridiculous. So ridiculous, man. I can't.
I didn't
can't
see
imagine.
them. I would have been out on my rooftop, although they didn't come over my place. I probably wouldn't have seen them. Oh no, they actually did. They probably would have flown right over me.
Were there
'Cause I'm
were
at
there
the-
passengers in the plane? Like
That would have been like really weird. Imagine
Yeah, a
like
bunch of
seeing
healthcare
people
workers.
like
Bunch of
looking
healthcare
out
workers,
the
like,
windows.
pressing the
yeah,
windows
captain's like,
fly
this is for the
sideways or something.
this is for the nurses and doctors. No other explanation.
Wait, what am I going? Jake, you said you were gonna grab a fucking snack. That's what I'm talking about. Fucking Jake. Oh my goodness. It's like Win Central over with Lux right now.
Sorry, it's so
It also
hot
sounds
here,
like
dude.
somebody is like eating or something.
It's so fucking hot here, dude.
Dude,
Does somebody
Lux-
have chips?
Lux and I have been playing Call of Duty because it's just,
Nonstop.
it's really fun. But he's always got like, and Lux, I don't think I told you this, but like you literally sound like
Or I start cussing.
yeah, it's crazy. It's kind of crazy.
When you play Call of Duty, that's what he sounds like.
I'm very vocal.
No, when he does anything, he's taking a shower at my house, and like my whole family's like, "What's going on in there? What's with all the heavy breathing?" And like,
I love it.
It's true. You
Love
do
it.
breathe pretty heavy.
So listen, Tim Ferriss, you
I
all
love
know
him.
him. Yeah, he is the author of the 4-Hour Workweek and introduced the new rich, which is basically remote work and working for 4 hours. He has nearly lost all his money during this time, and you'd think that he would be thriving because the new rich is like perfectly aligned with like what the fuck's going on right now, working remote and all that shit. But he was an early investor with Uber stock, and it's a lot of different stocks, and that's really pretty much killed him as an angel investor. And I think I bring this up for a couple reasons. One, somebody like Tim Ferriss, even he gets like uneasy about his stocks when they drop, right? And it's a psychological mind fuck, right? And it's something that I think it's really important for everybody who has a savings or invests in the S&P 500 or to recognize that, like, these are unusual times and you're going to see your money go up and down, and it's okay. Just don't even think about it. He's lost 70% in value, which is insane. But yeah, it's a good article. Talks about a little bit of basics about money and how to kind of weather the storm, and how it's about preparing for the worst psychologically.
Which is, I mean, I haven't read the article, but I mean, that's something that Tim Ferriss himself, that's what I'm attracted to him for, is, his tips, self-help on like how to, psychological strength and, different ways of approaching a new skill and stuff. So I'd be interested to hear what his viewpoints on this are. Is he interviewed in the article, or is this just like a piece on him?
It's just a piece on him. I posted it in chat if you want to take a look. But it's it's sound advice, right? Like whenever you buy a stock, you got to be prepared to hold it for maybe the average person who's not day trading, right? You just want to watch your money grow. You need to be prepared to watch it fall and rise and hold on to it for 5 to 10 years, and be okay with that. It's a hell of a lot easier when you're prepared to lose it all. You know what I mean? Or at least whenever I personally invest in something, or I want it to sit in a place for a while, I've mentally prepared myself that for a 50% drop at least, and that mentality has usually helped me, especially with I traded cryptocurrencies for a long time, and like that mentality has allowed me to kind of weather the storms and leave in profit instead of panicking and selling all my assets.
He's Tim Ferriss is like a big promoter of Stoicism, and within the philosophy of Stoicism, one of the exercises is to kind of mentally imagine all the worst case scenarios of everything that could happen to you, any projects you have going on, or
right,
any risks you're taking. Just mentally get prepared for all the bad things that can happen, because there's things you can control, things you can't control, and these things do happen. And if you just willfully ignore the possibility of it, when something does come your way that shitty, it's going to knock the foundation out of under your feet.
Yep. So I didn't understand that, but about him, I didn't know that about him, but I mean, that makes a lot of sense. We're listening to Bad Brains, by the way.
Oh man, you got your PMA or what?
I got my PMA for
Yeah, dude.
sure.
Yeah, dude. What album or what song?
I love Ijaw.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I love the reggae stuff, man.
Jake is like saying, my new favorite to do is look at the replies on Elon Musk's Tesla stock price is too high, in my opinion, tweet. I don't know, man. I'm still surprised that his stock seems to be as volatile as it is. I don't know why I sent this. I sent this over. So what do you? So why don't we take some bets here? You know, I know Lux and I were talking about the possibility of war with China. I would be really interested to hear everybody's opinion on that.
We talked about this a little bit, I think, last week.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion it hasn't really changed from last week's discussion, and basically just that whole, that statistic of when a growing superpower, and the current superpower, that whole thing.
Well, do you guys have like an escape plan? Are you guys?
To leave the country if we go to war?
No. What? Maybe.
Get to the woods.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, I haven't looked at that recently.
Escape plan for what, though?
It's more. I think it's more of a worry for me and Duff probably because we.
I do think about that. Actually, I definitely
for
do.
the people in the Bay as well. I mean, anywhere like.
Well, they're closer than we are. So.
In terms of
escape
plans or apocalyptic times, or not even apocalyptic, but just like even a regional catastrophe, when an entire region is affected, and because the reality is that like first responders, firefighters, medical, police, they're gonna have their hands full. So like if you're caught between a rock and a hard place, you're going to be in that situation for a very long time. And if you're not prepared, I mean, all sorts of things could go wrong. And you think about the amount of like gangs in cities and stuff, and looting and like people taking advantage of that. Like I think there's all sorts.
Yeah,
of
man, that's what I was thinking about. We were all alive during the Great Recession, right? And kind of saw some of that, and this has officially been worse, and is on track to be worse.
I mean, you were just a kid, though, right? Because I mean,
no,
you must have been 6 or 7 years old, being like 22.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's so I don't feel like
he's an old
the
soul,
same.
so like
I don't even feel like it's the same in these bigger cities, though. Like the Great Recession, that I think it hit differently. It was so focused on the housing that I don't think it hit New York City in the same way, and because we're a city of renters, so it didn't hit us in the same way that it hit other places that people are homeowners. So I see it. It's going to be a different hit.
I love that background, dude.
Huh?
I really like that background. Go back to your home screen.
Oh, it changed.
Does it change every time?
Yeah, it's my browser. But I mean, let's just think about this for a minute, because unemployment numbers come out officially tomorrow, right? And it's
going to be bad.
It's going to be huge, right? And so what 33.5 million.
Jesus Christ.
All right. So think about that, and think about how many people, as the longer this drags out, and like people aren't going to be hiring at a rate to cover,
10% of the population.
Yeah. So I mean,
How many
just
of those jobs are going to be once people do start coming back are going to come back? There's going to be a good
company,
chunk of those.
yeah, but
Yeah.
companies
You
are going
know,
to hire
like
slowly because
companies, yeah, but a lot of those people that are unemployed right now are, hairstylists and nail technicians, and those things are going to start to come back as well. Like employed right now is working in a corporation.
yeah, well, I mean, but also people might not be spending as much too.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a slow scale up, and it doesn't just
No, that I agree with. I
or s-
definitely
yeah.
agree with that.
I mean, there's no doubt. I think that people will become employed again, but for the next once
Not everybody,
vaccines
yeah.
come out, the economy is back and up and running, and we've got no issues. That's if we have no issues with China. Let's assume that we don't, right? It's going to be slow for like the next year or two, and
More.
thereafter.
My company, they said that they're not hiring. There's a freeze on everything until July 1, 2021.
Yeah,
They've already said that.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm just saying that those people are gonna get into a really shitty situation and desperate situations, and that is what I'm saying is it's going to be a very risky place to be. New York might change.
And they're very concerned about New York, that it's going to kind of go back to the way that it was in some ways in like the 70s,
right,
when the recession in the 70s hit it bad.
Yep. And it was hard enough. It was hard enough to get work and do things in New York and survive, when the economy was booming. So yeah, I mean, I guess this is what I'm thinking about when we're talking about like how like what are our plans to, I don't know. I don't think I thought about it enough.
You mean like if society breaks down, like shit hits the fan?
I mean, shit's
Well,
gonna
I'm
hit the
getting my
fan on some
hunting
level.
license, so I'll be able to hunt for
That's
food.
smart. It's kind of fucked up though, because like right before this pandemic started, I'm like, my yard sale. I'm gonna dip my toes back into. I'm gonna rejoin society. I'm gonna be more social. I'm gonna get back out there, and then the government's like, nope,
This is all your fault.
not happening.
Like,
don't think so.
Yard sale wants to come back? No.
The world came together.
It's funny because I was looking for a way to stay
Yeah.
home, so I feel like the government is taking care of me right now. Just
Oh,
stay
man.
home.
I'm to a degree, I'm loving it. Outside of
Yeah.
I like working remote. I like all that shit. I just don't like the impending doom occurring outside of me. I think I
feel
told
the
you.
same way. I thought I was kind of a little, because I felt the same way. Like I feel like this is not nearly as bad as it's going to get, because I
Right.
think it's going
It's
to
just
get.
started. It has
Yeah.
just started.
And it's going to be a
meanwhile,
bigger, more global. There's going to be a war of some kind.
I think so. Lux called it, right. Like I think we were talking about it a while ago. I was talking about China and the world moving away from the U.S. dollar as a currency, and Lux saying, U.S. isn't going to go out like that without a fight. So whatever an excuse is to go to war may very well happen. It could be like maybe U.S.
I also think everybody knows that it won't take very much for us to go to war in a way,
So the Space
I don't
Force
know. With China, if you go to war, it's war with China. I think that's the most likely scenario.
Yeah.
And war with China is a big fucking deal. So for us to go to war with China, I think it is going to take a lot, actually. The problem is China seems to be getting increasingly aggressive. So they may force us. The U.S. doesn't want to go to war. I mean, it doesn't seem to be the right choice for the United States. The U.S. has nothing to gain and everything to lose. China's the one that wants this to happen.
Well, the U.S. is losing standing in the world, and
For sure.
if
For sure.
you know, based on what you know, I remember you saying that the U.S. won't go down without a fight, and I agree with that. And so we'll figure out or fabricate some excuse, you know.
But I'm thinking like China might do something to force us to beyond
True.
that. You know,
True.
their actions lately in the South China Sea have been. I mean, the South China Sea has been a problem for fucking I don't know how many years now. 5 years it's been a fucking issue. Fucks have claimed international territory, saying it's all theirs, and it's like, dude, there's like 8 countries in that fucking sea. What the fuck are you talking about? You can't just say this shit's mine. And so the U.S.
It's got China in the name.
The U.S. is constantly, cruising the South China Sea just to, sort of play watchdog and policeman. But they did something recently, like last South China Sea. China did something, and the U.S. scrambled 2 ships in South China Sea. And then last I heard, China is claiming that they expelled the ships.
It had something to do with Taiwan.
You mean China?
Yeah, whenever China, what?
Taiwan. China doesn't believe Taiwan exists.
But yeah, like whenever they're like making a move on Taiwan, then we send ships out there.
Maybe that's it. Yeah.
But the last ships we had out there were affected by Corona and were like emptied out and everything or whatnot. And China took that as an opportunity, to. What I read was, not like it just kind of testing the waters. Like, all right, well, they're affected by this. Let's see if we could push the boundaries a little bit. Let's stick our toe over the line, see what happens.
Yeah. That sounds right.
So I'm looking at your VAM Show articles. You said there's like people getting.
Dude, this is creepy, man. This is creepy.
For reopening too soon.
This is a woman who defied the stay-at-home orders of she's in Texas. She defied the state government's stay-at-home orders, opened up her hair salon and started doing business. She received a letter from the police saying, cease and desist. She denied the order and kept doing business. Then the judge made the order, like a court order, and then she again kept doing business. And finally, they held her in contempt because the court gave an order, a direct order. You can be held in contempt. So she was held in contempt of court and was arrested.
Fuck.
So that's part 1. Part 2 is the other article, which shows you that.
I want to say at the outset that
I can't remember. Yeah, so
16,000 U.S. inmates have been released.
16,000 U.S. inmates so far have been released because of the coronavirus. So basically, they're saying that because prisons, you can't do social distancing in prisons, they're releasing inmates. So you essentially have a situation where the government is now arresting and imprisoning people who are tax-paying citizens who just want to go back to work and run a business, while simultaneously releasing convicted criminals. Like it's fucking insane.
This is insanity.
It's fucking insane. It's crazy, dude. It's just such a perfect example of, frankly, government overreach and incompetence.
Incompetence for sure. Just miscommunication. Just like you realize, you think people like to think that the government and society works like like a clock, like a watch. No, there's so much fucking bumbling around, tripping over their own dicks, miscommunication. Fucking, this is ridiculous.
It's fucking. It's a joke, man. It's a joke.
Yeah, that's insane.
It is.
I saw today.
Okay.
I saw a cop pull over. were some people on the sidewalk, like outside of an apartment complex, and they were like tossing a ball around or something. And it was the first time I've seen this where a cop put on their lights, flipped a bitch, and sped right up to them, got out, and started talking to them. I was on the other side of the street. I don't know what was said. Nothing was happened. Nothing happened. No arrests were made. But
Were the
sirens
cops
went
wearing
on.
masks?
Was the cop wearing a mask?
Probably not.
Yeah.
You know what?
I just find it very it's funny to me with the mask thing with the cops. Like they'll break up things like that, and then
Yeah.
the other day I was driving by 4 cops just standing next to each other, just talking. Like they had masks on, but they weren't wearing them.
Most police I've seen lately are wearing masks, but I don't remember exactly, but I don't recall this one wearing a mask. But again, I was across the street, so he could have been.
I think that's probably a case of a cop just wanting to be an asshole. Because I think if I
isn't that
recall
Cupertino cops?
Yeah, for sure. It was Santa Clara sheriffs, dude.
So for those of you who don't know, Cupertino doesn't have their own police force, so they employ Santa Clara County sheriffs to do it.
Why don't they have their own police force?
It's too small.
It's too small of a town.
And because the area they patrol, doesn't have a lot going on, so they really puff up their chests over a bunch of bullshit,
So you get a bunch of sheriffs that don't want to fucking be there because there's boring and there's nothing going on there, and they're just looking for something to do.
Yeah, but Gavin Newsom released a letter weekend. Which, by the way, you should look that up. It's really fucking condescending. It really.
Wait, what? Gavin? Who?
Gavin Newsom's letter of acceptance, something like that. He basically
the governor of California.
He gave a list of activities that said, this is what you're allowed to. And I'm pretty sure playing catch is on it. So I don't know what that cop was doing because the governor says we can play catch. So go.
What the hell? Stay home except for essential needs.
Catch is the definition of social distancing.
Well, kind of. You're tossing a ball around that everybody touches, but just don't touch your face.
Yeah, but if you have a mitt on, you don't
throw it with your mitt though. You catch it with your mitt.
Still,
you wear gloves.
I don't know. I'm not a sports guy.
I don't know sports.
What do California approved activities? It's ridiculous, dude. You should try and.
What can you guys do?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it is.
So I was talking to my cousin in Ireland the other day, and she was telling me about
how
they were starting to open up. And the stuff that they were starting to do is stuff that I feel like we've always, nobody has taken that away from us in some ways. So it's funny to me how they're saying that these are phases of their open up plan, and it's stuff that we've been doing.
Yeah.
Going outside, meeting people in the park.
I have a friend in Romania who told me the same thing. She says they've been on full lockdown. You're not allowed to house.
Yeah, it's we're really not on lockdown compared to other countries.
Yeah.
I there's so much misinformation, man. There was a ship that was brought to New York for for additional assistance, and it had left, not because it was overrun or there was a problem. It left because there was no
healthcare ship. Did that leave?
It left. You know what?
It only had 20 people in it. They said. I thought
that's right. They didn't fill up the beds. It was being underutilized.
Well, it was only being brought for people without COVID at first, and they had to beg and plead for it to be used for COVID-related cases. When it first came to New York, it was for people it was for hospitals to transfer patients to that were not COVID-related.
Oh, Elon Musk was talking about this on the podcast. He said that there's a lot of hospitals right now throughout the country, maybe excluding New York, that are almost empty. They're at like 30% capacity because everyone's afraid to go to the hospital right now for like normal shit. So no one's going.
Right.
You know, there was some places that were restricting hospital visits to COVID cases because they were expecting a higher.
I think New York hospitals are still like that. I don't think that they're doing selective surgeries still.
Yeah. They stopped doing elective surgeries, which is, I mean, kind of ridiculous. The terminology in some cases is not elective. Like heart surgery is an elective surgery, you know.
Yeah.
So
Wait.
you might
So this
triple
says,
bypass.
look at this right here. Throwing
Throwing a
hold-
baseball.
Yeah, but throwing a football, kicking a soccer ball, not in groups though. What does that
Yeah.
mean?
Gardening, not in groups.
What does not in groups mean? Does that mean more than 3 people? Does that mean more than 2 people?
Well,
Yeah, I
no, a
don't
group
know.
would probably be 3 or more, right?
Athletics. I like that they said athletics.
But you can't
And
you can't throw a
what's
football to yourself.
Crabbing. You can go
Surfing's
crabbing.
not-
Which is why I
it's
think it's
savage.
groups of 3 or more, because you don't really say like you don't say, "Hey, look at that group of people." You say, "Look at that couple of people." Or, look at that.
Or, yeah,
I don't
look at
know.
that threesome over there. I'm always saying that.
Yeah.
Are you always saying that?
Always.
So you're never in the threesome. You're always just looking at it.
No.
Yard Sale has some interesting threesome stories
I'm
where,
sure
where
he
he's
does.
where he's not really participating, but like he's just off in a corner.
Yeah, I'm never invited, but yeah,
Yeah,
I'm kind of
but he's there. He's in the
But
same
you're
room.
always there.
I'm the
He's
cup
in the
of
same.
threesome.
You're never invited, but you're always there.
Yeah.
So- so-
There's a will, there's a way.
Did you guys hear about that whole like exposed CBS thing where they were reporting on COVID-19 at a hospital, and like basically people are saying that CBS told them to pretend like they're treating fake patients so it looks more dramatic.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
didn't-
Not surprising whatsoever.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah.
all these media outlets are always doing shit like this. Always.
But then you know I rented a car last weekend.
Trampolining.
Where did you go?
What?
Where did you end up going?
Oh,
Oh yeah.
So I rented a car, and I went to Jersey, and then I went upstate, but all the public parks were like closed because of COVID-19, and so it was like impossible to like go on a hike or anything like that. And then, but I went to Jersey, and oh my god, let me just say that bagels in New York suck, pizza in New York suck. All the good bagels and pizza is in fucking Jersey. Anyways, that's a separate thing. But here's what
I don't
happens.
know about that.
Oh, dude, have you had a? Never mind. I'm not gonna get into this right now. But, Duff, when this all clears up, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Because a fucking bagel. All right. Anyways,
Where did you go in New Jersey?
Let's talk.
Where would you-
Okay. Well,
Okay,
I went.
all right.
I went
Continue.
I went like just anywhere in fucking Jersey. You get a good ass fucking bagel. Not anywhere, but like you know, places that bake it fresh. Anyways, fucking, I'm in the car and I'm driving by. I decide to go in Manhattan, right? And boy, is it like fucked up in there right now. Like it's the weirdest thing. People are wearing masks and like people, you know, like it looked run down. That's like the only way I can describe it. And you know, I was in Fidei and I drove past the hospital, and you know, they've got the tents set up, they got people out there, you know, there's like things that look like body bags out there, you know, and people in my building are saying that they see so many people fucking being brought out of body bags in the hospital. Turns out the hospital that I had drove past, the head of ER, sorry, Lux's background noise always gets me.
Put yourself on mute.
It's not me.
The
I'm sitting.
Take responsibility, dude.
Yeah, whatever. You can hear it in his voice. You can hear the lines.
I'm just saying, like, I see
distracting.
conflicting pieces of information across the board, and then I hear things that are completely different, and then I also see things that are completely different than what I'm all across the board. You know, I hear that, you know, nobody's in the hospitals, but then I drive by a hospital and there's like people, you know, and I know people who worked in the hospitals, and they're telling me that body bags have been, you know, just going out of the hospital every day. And then the ER that I drove past, the head of the ER department killed himself because he just saw so many deaths, I guess. And
Somebody at the hospital uptown as well, one of their chief doctors, she also killed herself like 2 weeks ago.
yeah. Oof. I mean, what the fuck? Yeah. Yeah, man. Fucking
I don't
crazy.
know. I have cousins and friends who are nurses, and I definitely believe what they're saying. I mean, it may not be what the case for the entire state, but
What are they saying?
There's still people coming in. It's still like kind of madness, if you will. Like, you know, it really depends on what hospital. But like, I have a friend that works in Westchester, and then I have a friend that works in Montefiore in the Bronx.
The best Chester?
The best Chester. And, you know, then I have a cousin that works in Ireland. She's a nurse, and the stories that she's been telling me too. And it's just, you know, I believe them. Like, I don't think that this stuff is being made up. I don't think that, you know, I think a lot of people are dying. I think people just need to be careful. Like, I don't know, but it's not the same. Even in New York, like in the middle of it, Fidei is different from where I am, which is different from like where my mom lives. And, you know, we're all within 50 miles of each other. And I think it's different.
Yeah, I think New York is essentially the epicenter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was reading this thing today that we basically, every case in the US can almost be accounted coming from New York, which came from Europe essentially.
What?
But
The data.
if we think about it, like I was traveling in January, I probably brought. I mean, I want to go get the antibody test because I want to see. I think we probably have had it.
Well,
Dude, I want to get it too, and then put it in my Tinder profile.
Listen, antibody test.
Like, would you just say like I've had the Rona or positive? Like, what would you?
I would say I
Just be
got
real
great
COVID-19
great
free.
breeding.
My favorite song is My Sharona or something like that. You know, be real, like subtly.
Well, I wouldn't get the antibody tests. I've been working closely with those tests, and they're super inaccurate. If you get the antibody test,
yeah, like I don't know what it
Well,
would
probably
do.
the
Just
knockoff
tell me
ones
like,
you're
oh, you've
selling,
had
but,
it.
you know.
Like,
I no, dude.
what did
I'm
he
not.
say?
Washington's selling like knockoff versions of China. That's
No, I am.
Combat so solid gold over here.
We won't even touch the antibody test. We only sell the PCR test because it's like 90% accurate. It's too much of a liability to sell the antibody test, so we won't do it. And also, our finance partners won't finance it as well. So,
But like, I guess even if I went and took it, like I don't know how would it affect how it would affect me. Like, it wouldn't affect any decisions that I'm making. You know, like I'm still gonna do the same stuff because
yeah, but
I could probably get it again.
But the way they're tracking these positive cases is like through, you know, they're tracking the cases through false positives using those antibody tests. So you're contributing to false information.
Well,
Wait, so if you do have the antibodies, like, you still carry, you can still pass it on, though, correct? Or is that different from the it just being
No.
asymptomatic?
So basically, I'll put it this way: the antibody test is basically a swab, and you put it in your mouth, right? And that's like maybe 30%. You put it in your mouth. You swab your mouth.
That's what she said. Oh. Not this Bob. Put it in your mouth. Put
In
it
Gold,
in your
in Gold's
mouth.
case, that's what he said. But go on.
And it's probably at best 30% accurate, and then
That's low.
the PCR kit is something that you need a professional to perform, and you need a DNA extraction kit, and you need PCR equipment to.
Oh, you need some DNA for me? I could totally mail you some of my DNA.
Have you guys heard about the John Oliver thing? Like, he started a church to like make fun of these mega churches that ask for donations. So he started a church as a joke and asked his fans to mail in like their tributes or something. And, you know, he said you could mail in whatever you want. And so people mailed in all this crazy. Someone mailed in a wooden dick. It was like a 10-foot dick, and people mailed in a bunch of weird shit. Finally, after they did this for like 3 weeks, and finally people started mailing in tubes of semen. That's when they finally started. Yeah.
Well, dude,
joke,
when you say
He's
tribute,
like,
when
"All
you
right,
say
we gotta shut
tribute,
this
You
down."
mean
So
yard
people started
sale?
sending
Yard
semen
sale
tubes
started
in.
mailing in tubes of semen.
Yeah, but no. It's not just mine. I've been collecting from all my neighbors. I've been going door to door.
He was collecting donations from all over
Yeah,
town.
like, for Jesus, I'm gonna need you to jerk off in this tube, please. And a stamp.
oh,
Give me a stamp too.
that's why you have the fleshlight. It's a extraction tool.
Oh, the flashlight again.
No wonder you use condoms with that thing. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god.
There's no yawning on podcasts.
I just
I'm
sneezed. I didn't
so
yawn.
tired.
My
No,
allergies have been
it's Lux
crazy.
again, with the background noise, the yawning, the toilet flushing, the chip eating.
Yo, this. I don't know. Anyways, it's enough COVID-19 bullshit. What is this esports article you got going on here? This from like
which
last
one?
week?
I can't remember. Let me pull it up.
Pandemic. Pastime playing esports against strangers with cash at stake. Oh, I actually saw an article where they're training the U.S. They're training like military through video gameplay because
Oh wow.
yeah. So they're like there's some like really accurate tactical games. And in order to practice social distancing, they work out, in quarantine, but play these video games in order to, strategize. Yeah.
Yeah, this is people are like gambling on esports.
Yeah.
My
Which is
friend's
cool.
like college friend, her husband has made a killing on esports. He like
Gambling?
quit his job. No, like just like he created a company. He like sold it for millions of dollars, and now he's consulting on esports. She was telling me the other day. He's actually working with the university to create an esports program at the university.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, it's to me, it's like chess club mixed with a little bit of agility. Or reaction.
But is there any agility? Like, I mean,
oh, for sure.
Reaction
just
time.
playing a game, right? Like, you're not actually.
Well, so here's a good example, right? So like depends on what game you're playing, right? If you're playing like League of Legends, it's like chess, right? And you have to think relatively quickly. It's a more complex version of chess, and if you're playing like first-person tactical shooters, you are strategizing, but you are also at the same time reacting. Have to have a really fast reaction time, and for that, you don't have professional players that are above a certain age. I think after 25, you can't compete because your reaction time lowers as you get older. So it's very rare to see anybody over maybe like 21 in the sport.
You also have to be Korean.
That's if you're playing League of Legends. You would be Korean or Russian. Yeah, but yeah. I don't know, man. I respect it for what it is. Do I see it as like as like a do I see it like basketball or something like that? Not quite, not quite. But I think you're exercising something, and there is some athleticism to it. I mean, these guys spend, if you're an athlete, you spend all your days eating right, sleeping right, working out right, and practicing right. And it's the same thing for anybody doing esports. They shack up in a house. Let's see if we can look one up.
There's a team in LA that with the Lakers. The same guys that run the Lakers training facility also train in East.
Yeah. So they have these gaming houses, and that's where you train, and they have coaches, and they have the whole shebang. And these guys can make money, and even after their career, what these guys have is they can start streaming services, streaming shows, YouTube channels, afterwards, and make bank. What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at?
What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at?
Nothing.
What the fuck?
I didn't know that. So it was just like a hacker, right? But for esports.
What was that?
It's like a hacker house, but for esports, yeah.
No, I wouldn't say it's a hacker house. A hacker house, you're working with the team to kind of achieve. I mean, it's different. Like hacker houses, I don't think you're like training really like this. They literally sit around and strategize. Like a coach will like go to a whiteboard and talk plays and assign approaches, and the team will like execute and practice on them and spar against each other. Whereas like
we gotta start doing it. We gotta get that shit work on.
Yeah, right.
We gotta start whiteboarding some plays.
Whiteboarding some plays. Shit. Yeah. All right.
But yeah, I think the gambling thing that capital into esports right now, I think is a good thing. I'm a big fan.
Capital in esports?
Yeah, any sort of injection of money.
Yeah.
Space, I think, is a positive thing.
It's gotta be great right now, especially.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because of it. I know that there's some articles where professional players are playing video games right now in quarantine. Professional, I think it's baseball.
I think in 10 to 20 years, you're going to see the biggest.
See what?
I think esports will be as big as like the NFL.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's continuously growing. It's
in like 10, 20 years there'll be esports guys that are like household names like Tom Brady and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Ultra.
It's becoming, the behavior of watching people play video games as a sport is becoming normalized.
Yeah.
Whereas it wasn't at one point.
It's a lot more approachable. There's not a lot of people who, well, I should say a lot of people do, but a lot of people don't grow up playing sports anymore. And even back in the day when common, there was still a segment of society that just physically wasn't any good, or couldn't really participate.
Yeah.
Because of physical things holding back. So this is a lot more. So you can watch the best of the best play and compete, and then you can go out there and play too. You're not going to compete at the same level, obviously. Go
Well,
Yeah.
that's kind of what is genius about sports in general. Is like you get like that's what makes it a money making machine. Is this like hope or idea that like you can compete just like these people, and for video games in particular, it becomes like a huge boom, right? Like you got people who think that they will be able to compete someday, and
Yeah.
and they work at it, right? I remember I used to play Rainbow Six with this kid, and he used to say, one day he used to get so frustrated, he'd be like, "Fuck," blah, 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 blah. And one day he goes, "You know what? I've just accepted the fact that I'm a gold player. Like, why am I thinking that I'm like a plat player, or I'm gonna be able to, like, the people who are platinum and diamond all are professionals, Why do I think that I'm gonna be that one day, when I only play casually?"
Yeah, you're never gonna get to that.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good thing. There's a lot of people out there so dedicated and love it so much on a level that mega athletes in NBA and NFL love it the same way, and they spend all their time, basically all their waking hours, passion.
Yeah.
You have people doing the same thing in
Yeah.
the same room.
10,000 hours to mastery.
Is it 10,000?
I don't know.
500. 5,000.
5,000.
I don't know. I can't remember. I thought 5 was in there.
I thought it was 10. But the point
Maybe
is,
Yeah, there's a bunch of hours.
it's more than 24.
I've
Dude.
easily spent 10,000 hours playing video games over the course of my life.
Oh, for sure. Me.
And then
me
how
too.
are you not a master?
And yet you're not a master. I
How
was
do you
just gonna
still
say,
suck?
and yet you're not a
I
master.
still suck.
So solid gold over here.
I have
Back
no
me up.
answer to that question.
I'm pretty solid at fucking COD, and I just picked it up like a week ago. And
Yeah,
I'm
he's
playing
pretty good.
on console, and I still beat him on PC every once in a while.
Yeah. He's
That
pretty.
doesn't
he's
happen
pretty good.
often. Doesn't happen often, but it has happened more than once.
I mean, guys, you got to give him a break because he's well past the 22.
I'm not 22.
He's
I'm
not 22.
like watching anymore.
Yeah, he's not
he's
as
in the
agile.
twilight years of life.
Yeah.
And that's so much harder for an
You're
old
in
to
retirement and you're still
skill
doing really
like
well.
that.
It's
Yeah,
amazing.
exactly. I'm like Jordan when he came back and played against Kobe.
Except you didn't come back.
No, the only thing about you that's like Michael Jordan is the Hitler mustache.
Oh shit.
I don't have a Hitler mustache.
He doesn't have a Hitler mustache.
You haven't seen him recently.
Yeah, I have. I saw him like 2 days ago.
Wait, how?
This thing
FaceTime,
called
dude.
FaceTime.
Oh.
We have real phones instead of that.
He
Android.
called me to brag about how he was playing video games.
That was after that night we played with DA.
Dude.
That was so much fun.
It
dude.
was so much fun, dude. DA
So much
fucking. He's like. Oh my god, I can't.
He adds a level of like fun entertainment to the whole experience. I think you and I get too serious.
I know. I think that's the way with us in general. It's like you and I have a tendency, even on this show, to get like super deep and serious, right?
Yeah.
Thank God
so
for
serious.
thank God for others to like brighten the mood. I mean,
Yeah,
Are you,
exactly.
Duff, are you
That's
still
what we
playing?
are. Yard sale. We're mood brighteners.
You're
Yeah.
the what do they call it in the
Sunshine.
Fluffers?
comic relief?
Oh,
I am the sunshine and the comic relief.
Yeah.
Are
So
you
this
still
is
playing?
the best piece
We're
of
the
news
sun, you're
I've
the
seen
moon.
possibly ever. Frankly, this article that we're looking at right now is by far the best headline I think I've ever read in my
Duff,
life.
you still playing
But
guitar?
read it out loud. Read it.
I really need to focus on it more. I should be better than I am.
All right. Well, hopefully this inspires you. An 8-year-old wrote an original song called "I Wonder What's Inside Your Butthole," and it's a quarantine smash.
Can I play it?
Quarantine smash, is that part of the headline? Is it quarantine smash?
Yes.
It's so good on so many levels. That headline, dude.
I'm gonna play the song if you want to get ready, but I gotta wonder if she's gonna grow up being like a butthole licker or something like that.
Wait, we can't
Anyway.
If she isn't already.
Wait,
Oh man.
we can't.
If she isn't already.
I'm playing.
I wonder what's inside your butthole. I wonder what's inside your butthole. Maybe there's astronauts and maybe there's aliens.
There's astronauts.
What's inside your butthole? What's inside your butthole? I always want to know what's inside your butthole. I always want to know what's inside your butthole.
I'm not hearing it very well. I'll have to look into it later.
It basically shows that you don't have to play guitar to write a good song.
Do you agree with her, or?
Yeah, you just have to hold it. I mean, for a long time,
that's all I've been doing is just holding it.
I mean,
what are the lyrics?
I wonder what's inside your butthole.
The lyrics, the melody.
Maybe there's astronauts in your butthole.
It's such a great little silly song,
dude.
I want to see if I can find like a remix on YouTube.
Oh my God. Here's a remix.
Hey, Gold, you should do a cover of it. You should do a cover.
This is a good remix, actually.
Hey, I'll make that Tinder profile if you do a cover for a next show.
All right. This is a remix. There's a remix here.
Do a power ballad.
Yes, I will do that. There's a remix here. I'm gonna post it in chat.
I really want to see your Tinder profile, yard sale. It's gonna be like,
wait,
I've had coronavirus and here's my cover.
I really want to see it too because I don't have one yet, but I'm gonna make one just for the VAM show.
Oh no!
Although I'll have to consult with Tammy and be like, hey,
I'll send you what I'm doing. His main profile.
Tammy, one of your two girlfriends.
Yeah, not the rubber one.
That's his side chick.
Yeah.
By the way,
flesh and blood.
Married man these days.
What happened?
What?
Yard sales a married man these days.
What?
What? Since last week? Congratulations.
Yeah.
You legally married your fleshlight?
It was a long battle in court to get it approved.
I mean, I can't.
Finally approved their union.
It can't be. It couldn't have taken that long because it seems like you can be anybody, so you should be able to. You can identify as anybody, so you should probably be able to marry.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I just held it up in court, and there's a Post-it note stuck to the fucking lips, and it said, "I identify as a real person." And the gavel was struck.
Yeah.
And then you took it into the bathroom.
Yeah.
What if your
romance
fleshlight
was
identified
ensued?
as like non-binary? Your fleshlight was trans.
I identify as a male. Like,
I mean,
hey,
literally, you
can't
could
argue
just
with
you could be post-op too by just flipping it inside out. This is fucked up. I'm gonna get marked on YouTube.
Why? What happened?
What are you looking at?
I don't know. Just we're talking so much shit.
You can't.
Dude, we're not talking shit about a group. We're talking shit about a specific person, which is I'm in a relationship with. So
your flashlight.
I'm
You can't
allowed.
badmouth the alphabet people, dude. You're fucked.
Yeah, the alphabet people do fucking come and get you, but still, like, I'm with an alphabet person. The alphabet is F.
Yard sales an LGBT community member, so advocate.
LGBTQ.
F.
A.
I just say that very slowly because I always fuck it up.
What I don't understand is that Lux is intent on teasing me about this, but he's anxiously waiting the mailman to deliver next Friday his girl in the fucking mailbox. So,
No, she gets here tomorrow.
You mean
Oh,
tomorrow?
no shit. No
Yeah.
shit.
I'm
Oh, I'm
excited.
so excited for you.
You got a sex doll?
Yeah, I got a fleshlight too, dude. I got to do all this work in the backyard, and I'm gonna have like a nice fancy dinner for us. I'm really gonna wine and dine.
Is that why you've been prepping all those fancy dinners for your flashlight?
Exactly. I was practicing.
He's gonna shove fucking steaks up her lips and then go to town.
Oh my god.
That like really, I had some that was like really messed up.
I can't.
Oh my god.
Holy shit. All right, guys. I'm gonna wrap this up. Yeah.
That's safe of you. That's safe.
Yep.
I think it's
Always
about
wrap up.
time.
Always wrap up.
Oh god.
I can't. The world's gone to shit, literally, and my best friends are dating fleshlights.
Only one of them. The other one gets it tomorrow. So not technically the relationship hasn't started
Yeah, like
yet.
I met mine like at a bookstore, you know. Like Lux ordered it off the internet like a creep.
I specialize.
What bookstore sells that?
Oh my god.
No. I just chatted her up, you know, and took her home, and it was like a real relationship.
Michael's what he's trying to say is he found it.
Oh man. All right. On that note, have a good night, folks.
Hey, you dropped my name, fucker.
Good night.
It's over.
Who's
It's
name?
over. He said.
No, yeah, I'm gonna end it right now. Hold on one
Oh,
sec.
really? I thought you already ended it.
No.